next question we're going to go to, or we're going to speak to you about it. Okay, this is what we can talk about. We're going to go on to Chelsea, actually. So I'm going to go to Lewis first on this. Fact or fiction? Enzo Maresca has been let down by Chelsea's recruitment. Being ninth is on the board, not the manager. Contextually, around this tweet from a Chelsea fan, essentially what he said in his thread is that the underperformance from the team sitting where they are in the league, although it's only 9 games, is because they just don't have the quality when the Palmers and a few of their centre-backs are missing, and they feel that's hurting them in these close games. What's your thoughts?
I think straight off the bat, I don't think you can blame everything on the board. I'm certainly not if I was a Chelsea fan, would I be happy with the board? No. I think over the last, since Todd's been there, it's felt a little bit like Football Manager, a little bit like FIFA, in the amount of players that they were buying. I always really felt really bad for Potter. I know obviously since then he's had a really tough time as well, to be fair. But how a manager's supposed to come in and get in a starting 11 when you've got, how many players have they still got on loan currently? You've got Raheem Sterling, who is he still training with the academy lads? Still training with the under-21s. I think he's on something like 300 grand a week, isn't it? Something like that. 350. I think it's a little bit a mixture of both. You look at that squad, and it's a little bit unfair to say if a Cole Palmer is injured. Well, yeah, he's their best player. It's almost like saying, for us for City, well, if Haaland was injured, well, yeah, if you're going to lose your best player, you are going to struggle. So I don't agree with that. I think if any team had a Cole Palmer was to go on and get injured, they would struggle. Did they reinforce in key areas? No, but at the same time, if you look at a manager like Maresca, seems to be very, very inconsistent. Has consistent spots early on in the season and towards obviously the back end of last season, but you manage the players that you've got. And at the end of the day, if you look at their academy, surely there's someone in there. Surely there's someone that they could, the amount of players that they've got on loan. So too many. There was too many. The amount of wingers that they had at one point, the amount of midfielders. Jackson up front. I said it, when they signed him, and was proven right. He was never going to be a 25, 30 goal a season striker. So, is it completely on the board? I think early on it was, but at the same time, you manage the players that you've got, and if you're a world class manager, it's on you to find the solution. So, I would probably say fiction there. I don't think it's completely on the board now.
What are you saying, Giuseppe? And by the way, I saw your private chat. We did say when you froze, his daughters pulled the lead out. He did.
Don't let near my life support machine.
What do you make of the Chelsea situation? Because there was
sorry, mate. Finish.
No. Just in terms of, is this on the manager not getting the best out of these players? There are some Chelsea fans saying they actually think their recruitment, looking at it now, 9 games into the season, hasn't been good enough. What are you saying, Giuseppe?
Yeah, for me, I think it's a little bit of both. I think that obviously if the board invested money in ready-made ballers now, like if they had gone and signed in Buemo, Cunha and stuff like that, maybe it would have been different, yes. But at the same time, Chelsea fans, for one, can't moan because they were twerking for all the players they signed. João Pedro, all the Gittins, Garnacho, they even tried twerking for when they got rid of Madueke. Stuff like this, so I think they've got enough. Like to say they should be 9 is doesn't make sense because they've only added to the quality they had last season, and last season they got Champions League. So I think it is on the manager. At the end of the day, they've had Enzo fit most of the season. They've had Caicedo, they've had Lavia back. Cool, they're missing Palmer. But everyone's been missing players. Arsenal have missed Saka for a few games this season. City have missed Rodri for a few games this season. No, all the teams are missing big players. You know what I mean? So I just feel like McAllister's been missing all season for Liverpool. You know,
you can add our list. Salah's been missing.
But no, but for me,
have an injury.
I just think there's too many decisions that Maresca has made this season that don't make sense for it to be fully on the board. Yes, I think you can say about the board not signing ready-made stars now and going for the young approach, but they won the Club World Cup. They won the Club World Cup, and according to them, they're the best in the world. They won the World Cup. So if you're winning them trophies, you can't then use the excuse of recruitment when you're not doing good in the league. You can't sit there and say we the champions of the world, and then at the same time going 2 injuries have now folded us. The defense, I get they've got a few injuries in the defense, but at the same time, Maresca must have a say in some of these signings as well. I can't believe that he has no say in the signings. Maybe he don't. We don't know that for sure. But I just think that Maresca's it's his second season, and I've always said second seasons are when you see what managers are really about. I always think a manager can have a really good first season just off of spontaneousness, off of people not really knowing their style, the way they play, a bit of like the beginner's luck almost. So this season's when we're going to see, and I think he's made multiple incorrect decisions, starting 11 substitutes, how he's going at games this season, to say that it's his fault as much as anyone's. I think they've had players underperforming as well. But yeah, once again, it all goes back to the fact that Chelsea fans pick and choose when the signings are good and signings ain't good, because they were all taking.
Rob says here that we all had to listen to Don and all the others tell us how good their team and squad is, so no excuses for not. Do you think sometimes that this is why people end up? I throw this to Tom because I saw your reaction to that. Do you think I'm not putting this on Don because I haven't heard Don's opinion on this yet, because whenever they lose, I don't ever see him till the following weekend when he does Trade Facts on the Friday. He doesn't jump on a stream, doesn't jump on a match reaction. He's too busy making content elsewhere. But we'll wait to see what he says on Friday. But do you think that sometimes fans will turn on their manager? Will turn on the manager because that's easier than saying maybe I was wrong about these 2 or 3 signings, these 2 or 3 players. Maybe I bigged them up a little bit too much, and it's easier to say the manager's getting it wrong than it maybe is to be a little more balanced and go, the manager's made these mistakes, but these 2, 3, 4 players shouldn't have been bought, or this player is nowhere near where he should be. You're obviously going through it right now with Wirtz and Kerkez and Mo Salah. Their form can't just be because the midfield's a little bit vacated. So how do you see this with Chelsea, who, by the way, look, they're 9th in the league. Their home form this season, a Chelsea fan just sent me through this link saying, Terry, can you call this out? 15th for home form. Yes, we're only 5 home games into the season, so still a very small sample size. But to have played 5 home games, to won 2, drawn 1, and lost 2, isn't good enough for a team that have spent what they've got, the talented players they bought, who are world champions. They should be expecting more than that, Tom.
No, it's just I remember in the summer, and I've maintained this the whole time. Chelsea fans have always wanted both to have their cake and eat it. You'll sit there and say, this squad, you've just won the Club World Cup, so I should be expecting big things this season. No, you can't expect that because we're a young squad. We've not bought the star players. That's fine. Okay. So I reckon you'll finish 4th. Why are you saying that? We've just won the Club World Cup. You haven't done that. So you can't have it both ways. Do you want to know where Chelsea have gone wrong this year? Across the board. Across the board. I think the manager, I think the recruitment wasn't up to standard anyway. They've went into a 3rd season now with Robert Sanchez as number 1 goalkeeper. That can't run. Injuries happen. They were going to get injuries eventually because they have a lot of injury-prone players. I don't wish injuries upon anyone, but that is the logic of it. If your starting centre-back is Wesley Fofana, do not expect 38 games out of Wesley Fofana in a season. The thing they probably should have done was buy someone after Levi Colwill went down, but they trusted that young Achiampong, and he's actually been quite good. So I can't even really have a go at them over that. I then look at the manager. You do have tools there. You spent 40 million quid on Jarell Hato in the summer, one of the best young left-back, centre-back hybrids, and yet you seem to refuse to play him. So I can't necessarily have the sympathy if you have the tool but don't use it. If you use Jarell Hato and he looked crap, he looked out of his depth, then I'd sit there and go, you know what, he has been on out to dry because the guy they bought in, aren't they? I can't say that because I haven't seen the guy, but he played 20 minutes against, doesn't look sound. And then I look further forwards. Some of the selection decisions I don't think are smart. So the play style I don't think is conducive. So it's not all.
Throw in the hole on the weekend. Am I right in thinking that?
He seems to like to move players around everywhere, and hope that it causes all these problems. But the thing that I think is is falling apart for them now is teams are sitting there going, you can do all this movement around in front of us. We're just going to hold our line. I don't think Sunderland's back five jumped out to Chelsea's like midfield at any point. They invited Chelsea to break them down, and Chelsea couldn't do that. Now, yes, Cole Palmer goes a long way to helping you break down opponents, but you got a 60 million quid right winger in Pedro Neto, a 40 million quid left winger in Garnacho, 35 million quid Wonder Kid of the Year, whatever his name is, Estevan, 50 million quid Jamie Bino Gittins. That's 200 million quid. You tell me you can't score, you can't break down a Sunderland defence that's full of fullbacks effectively. Now that I'm looking at it, I get that the ownership could have done more. If the ownership hadn't won the Club World Cup, maybe they would have done more. But the problem is Chelsea fans in the summer, after they won the Club World Cup, said that vindicates the project. So if you're saying that vindicates the project, the Club World Cup shows that the project is going great. That's what the project was about. Why would they change the project at that point? Why would they abandon the principles of the project at that point where you're all going, that's what it was all about? It's vindicated now. Everyone laughing at us 2 years ago. This is what it was about. So you can't have your cake and eat it. All of them have been wrong. Some of the players aren't good enough. The manager's made a lot of stupid decisions and doesn't trust some of the squad depth. And the ownership should have went for more ambition, but ultimately they haven't went for more ambition because of the noise around it.
I think what's interesting is we have some Chelsea fans that come on, David being one of them. You've got Quest who comes on, who they're not really angry. And they just feel that they are where they expected to be with the recruitment, with the squad, in the sense of whether people agree or disagree that they should be further along after what they've spent. They've gone, we're not going to be in title races. We are still a young squad. It's going to take a couple more years until we can maybe expect that. So they're kind of, I know that they're ninth, but one win and they're back in the top four. It's very small sample size. Their view is just, no, we're kind of where I expect us to be. And whether they should be angry with that or not, I think is a separate debate. The Chelsea fans I'm really opinions, and I'm going to go to Dan next on this, I'm really interested in, are the ones that sort of said, better than Arsenal, we're up there with Liverpool, we're superior to the other teams. Like, where's it gone so wrong? If we just frame this from the people that really thought Chelsea were going to take this season by storm, what do you think's gone wrong for them so far?
I mean, we were sitting there a couple of weeks ago when they beat Liverpool, and we weren't talking like this. Do you understand? So I think it's a couple of games that have gone wrong, albeit they beat Ajax 5-1 in the Champions League midweek last week. So it wasn't bad then, but you lose at home to Sunderland, and I think sometimes we can jump the gun a bit. I still think Chelsea are going to be there or thereabouts, if you're asking me. I don't think you can look too much at Maresca at the moment. Like, because it's so early on in the season, I can't make my full assessment of Chelsea. I've been speaking about Chelsea this week, and I said to myself, are they going to be in the top four? I'm not too sure. They're too inconsistent. You don't know what Chelsea's turning up right now. You don't know what lineup's coming out right now. Yeah, their defense is not good enough. Even if you slip Fofana back in today, I still don't think the defense is good enough. Everyone's hailing up Reece James right now. He's just come back from injury. If he gets injured now, who are you bringing in there? Yeah, I'm just not too sure about Chelsea, but I'm not going to jump the gun and say, yeah, we're just going to write them off because they've lost to Sunderland at home. Because Sunderland, let's be honest, they've been good this season. They're not a pushover. This ain't your normal relegated side. This is a decent Sunderland team that turned up, had their game plan, sat back and caught Chelsea. That's what happened.
But do you think, bro, that what you just said about you don't know what Chelsea's turning up, do you think 4 years into their project, obviously Maresca hasn't been there the whole time, around almost 4 years into their project, the team they have, the quality of players they have, because although they have a few injuries, you still look at that starting 11 and it's still quite a decent starting 11 against Sunderland.
Yeah.
Shouldn't they be a bit more consistent? With the midfield, they got and Enzo.
Have you noticed that your children are always really quiet when you're quiet? The second you start talking, the noise.
Every time.
You're not going to get it. I've sat in my house where my kid's been quiet for an hour. It's nice. I'm going to send a voice note. I start talking. It's like, what are you doing? Yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, so for me, I think that is on the manager as well. The inconsistency to keep like a standard. Okay, the odd game you can have a bad game or you can have a bad little period, but when you don't know what teams come in week on week, 1 week it's like this, 1 week it's like that, 1 week it's like this, 1 week it's like that, I think that is on the manager.